There are personal details about myself that I would like to keep to myself, so I'm not going to go into too many details, but I had an experience maybe like 10 years ago that I feel like people need to hear, and it's disturbing for me to talk about, but it's necessary. Before I go into the story, I think it's relevant to say that some people have, well, we have different levels of sensitivity as far as things we feel and perceive. Some of these things may seem like they are um, unreal or a figment of a person's imagination, but to others they are definitely real. Anyway, sorry, it's not a fun topic for me. Maybe I'll say like 10, 15 years ago, about, well, about 10 years ago, I went to bed, or I fell asleep, and while I was waking up, like in between the waking state and the dream state, I felt an energy, and I never felt it again, and I never ever want to feel it again. And when I felt this energy, I knew what it was, or I felt like I knew what it was and why I was feeling it. And it triggered me to start moving my life back in a more productive and positive direction. What it was that I felt that I never felt afterwards, and I never ever want to feel again. The best way I can describe it is damned, or damnation is what I felt. And just to let you know, I was not thinking about hell or heaven or religious anything before I went to bed or while I was waking up. If anything, that was the furthest thing on my mind, which is most likely what caused me to feel what I felt. But let me describe what damnation feels like. It feels like everything in the universe, or everything that exists as you know it, is angry at you. Like, it's as if you feel like there are things which exist outside of your existence or separate from your existence, and all of those things are angry at you. And I mean rage, a rage that was beyond my imagination. So it felt as if the universe was enraged with me, like all of existence was enraged with me. And I felt this again between the waking and sleeping state. What I believe, well, the reason why I'm bringing this up is I feel like the reason why I felt it was because at that point in my life, it's like I was just living for it's here's the best way I can describe it. I feel like the reason why it happened is because the reason why I felt that way is because I had crossed the line spiritually, where I became like I just crossed the line where I was a little more bad than I was good, or more bad than I was good. Could have been by, who knows, 51%, something like that. 55% overall bad. Who knows? But I know at that time in my life, my mind was not on. I don't believe it was concerned with anything other than my own desires, which at that time were not the most wholesome. To be a little bit more descriptive, I didn't have a lot of faith in love. I think I may have been, I guess, after like a series of failures in my personal relationships, as well as financial, just a series of failures and disappointments. I just gave up. I didn't know I gave up, but it's like I didn't, it's not as if I deliberately said I give up, but you just stop fighting. You stop moving forward like it's not even a concern anymore. Like it doesn't have any importance. Like nothing means anything. I was very broken. I was very damaged. So, why am I talking about this, or why is it so important? What I haven't, what I don't really want to go into too many details about is some people have certain abilities where they have more faith in their feelings and in their emotions than others because they don't, well, they have a lot of experience with these feelings to where they have determined that their emotions, that their feelings are overall accurate based on their experiences, trial and error, and all that stuff, or just based on the odds. They know when they feel a particular thing, the odds are that it's real and it means something. I've known quite a few people who've had different abilities. I'll tell one story. I don't like telling personal stories about myself, but I'll tell one story of certain abilities. Um, I was in the jungle at the time, or what they called the jungle. This was in Baldwin Hills, or the Baldwin Hills area of Los Angeles, California. And I was actually having a pretty good day, a very good day. And I was walking down the street and I saw this lady who I normally see and talk to. And this lady had a disability that I won't describe because um, it's an identifier of who she is. And it's a very, very specific disability and obvious. But I'll just say, she did not look very fortunate. And most women and most men would not want to look the way this woman looked. But I always talked to her and was friendly to her because I felt like, that's what I would want. Um, I feel like, she seemed to be an overall decent person. So, she was, and since I know a lot of people probably wouldn't want to talk to her or spend time being around her, like I should, make an extra effort. So anyway, on this day, I was in a really good mood, a great mood. And I was walking, she was sitting down near an apartment, and I was walking towards her, past her, to go somewhere. And we ended up having a short dialogue. And I went to hug her. And as soon as I hugged her, I felt a strong feeling of depression. Very strong. A very strong feeling of depression and sadness. So I definitely felt like it was from her. Like I picked up, like I felt what she was feeling. And that's why I started off that story with telling you I was having a good day. I was in a great mood until I touched her. As soon as I touched her, I felt depressed and sad, like instantly. Out of nowhere. It could have come from nowhere else. From her. Oh, but her. And I know, and during that time, I was very attentive to my thoughts. And I still try to be that way. So, what I mean by that is, I value paying very close attention to all of my thoughts so that if I'm feeling bad or good, I can pretty much trace my steps. I can trace my thoughts back to why I felt bad or good, or what caused me to feel bad or good. What was I thinking about? What thoughts? I was feeling good. Anyway, another story. Short story, not a lighter story. I was on a bus, just got on the bus. I was talking to the bus driver, and so I just tell him, like out of the, like like out of the blue, I just tell him, you seem like a big AC/DC fan. And he was surprised. He was like, I'm like the biggest AC/DC fan. And we weren't even talking about music. We had a short dialogue about something. And that just came out of the blue. Uh, what else? That's into that story. I could go into countless stories actually, but of the people I've known and what they've picked up on and what we've picked up on together. But anyway, the moral of what I'm saying is this, that I believe that hell and hell realms exist. I believe they are real. And I believe this not because mommy and daddy or the reverend drilled it in my head as a child, but based on my experiences with emotions and what causes certain emotions and feelings, as well as research into the religions of the world and countless testimonies from out of individual people's mouths that I heard in person, as well as testimonies that I've heard like on video, that there is an afterlife, or there are there are existences beyond what we can see, or what we may be able to see with our own eyes. I've met people who could see things that might make them seem as if they are crazy. I'll tell another story, actually. This is a pretty disturbing story. Just came to my mind. This one's deeper. This one's wild. I had an ex who had certain abilities that, in my opinion, were like off the charts based on my experiences. And anyway, she wasn't my ex at the time. I was just getting to know her, and I wanted her to be my woman. She just got through telling me that she didn't want to. She just got through telling me that she didn't have any interest in, or that she didn't have interest in being my woman. And I accepted this, and I was very disappointed with this. This made me very depressed. I felt like I wanted to go lay down and just, because I felt very sad, because I very much wanted her to be my woman, but she didn't want me. And we were staying together at the time because she needed a place to stay, and I um, felt like she was a pretty decent person and whatnot. And anyway, I went to lay down because I was tired and depressed and just wanted to kind of escape the sadness and the disappointment. And I had a dream that a man, well, two men came into, well, two men, well, had a dream that I was at work. And sorry for, well, yeah, this is a disturbing story. So I know I talk slow anyway, but I had a dream that I was at work and I stepped outside of the building and I saw two men. One was small, another one was tall with an afro. They were walking towards the building and they, to me, seemed kind of menacing, like they had bad intentions. So I started to go back in the building, and the small one, he throws. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention the small one had a baseball. I believe the small one had a baseball, and the tall one with the afro had a baseball bat. They were black. And as I was closing the door to the building, for my own protection and safety, the small one threw the baseball at the door, at the glass door of the building. I barely got in, like it almost could have hit me. But anyway, apparently I didn't lock the door because in my dream the tall one came in the building holding the bat, and I went to uh, fight this person, and then the dream fades to black. And in my dream, it felt as if like I died. Like when once me and him connected, as if like I lost that fight. So I woke up and I felt pretty disturbed by that dream. I forgot to mention that in the dream, my ex was also in the building, so I was fighting to protect her. So both of us most likely lost our lives in the dream. Anyway, I wake up, I'm feeling pretty disturbed. I go over to where she's at, and she's wide awake. And I said, and she looks kind of upset, and I'm like, "Why are you?" I'm like, "What's going on? Are you okay?" And she's like, "I'm feeling death vibes." So I go over to hug her, to comfort her, and as soon as I touched her, she jumps and gasps, does a gasp like. I said, "What's wrong?" She said, "They felt that feeling felt like 1,000 times worse when you touched me." I asked her, "When did you first start feeling these vibes?" She said, "A little while after you went to go lay down." She said, "A little while after you went to go lay down, or a little while after you went in that direction, I saw a spirit move in your direction." I asked her, what did that spirit look like? And she said, a tall black man with an afro. So the point of that story, I guess the point that I'm trying to make is there are existences beyond, well, there are realities beyond our, well, there can be realities beyond our perception or beyond our our experience. And to conclude this this post, because I never, well, I don't like to make these long, but sometimes long is okay as long as it's thorough. But I'll say this much, again, to conclude this post and to leave you with the most productive thing I can leave you with is that according to most major religions, there are good things and bad things. There are good values and bad values. And for the most part, we agree, or these religions agree. And not even just the religions, but most cultures agree that there are good behaviors and bad behaviors. Taking life, lying, stealing, hatred, lust. These values in most religions are considered either bad or to be avoided or to be worked through, to be overcome. Showing compassion, love, consideration, honesty, charity. These are considered admirable values in most religions and cultures.